Good afternoon to you once again, and it's always a pleasure having you on the other side of the radio. It's time for us to start our first main conversations on the show. Hard Facts on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube, we're active on X. I am Kalada Kurubata, but I'm also very much active on social media. D Kalada, TheKalada. Now, the conversation I want to have is a very interesting one. And so, for the sake of not going afoul of the law, I would ask you that when it's time to contribute, that you put your thoughts and expressions in line with the laws of the land. Now, for many years now, for those of you online, you already know what we're talking about, right? I guess. But for those of you listening via radio, just follow me. I'll tell you what we want to talk about. All right. So for many years now, there has been the talk of unity, one Nigeria. And it is because in the history of Nigeria, a civil war was fought in 1967. That war started and it lasted for about 3 years. And different perspectives, different analysts and scholars and historians have reading their perspectives on what really transpired. Now, one general understanding is that the South is, then it was the Eastern region, which is a culmination of the Southeast and the South-South, were feeling left out from the scheme of things in the country. Now, whether that feeling is right or wrong is not what the show aims at. No, not at all. What the show aims at. What it aims at is, I'll tell you in a bit, I'm not going to jump the gun. Anyways, so yeah, different historians, different scholars, different perspectives on what really caused the Civil War and what really transpired during the Civil War. And if indeed after the Civil War, there has been no victor and no vanquished. And that was the conversation for a very long time until a few years ago, sometime around 2016 thereabout, 2017 thereabout, we saw Nnamdi Kanu, now incarcerated, begin talks of secession just again, like it was before the Civil War in 1967. Now, a lot of people, radio, TV, newspapers, books were written, and people criticized, people praised, but different angles and perspectives to what Nnamdi Kanu started, right? It was violent in some places. The Southeast, over the years, have become a ghost of what it used to be. It used to be a region bustling with economic activities. It used to be the honey pot when you talked business. And all of a sudden we saw reports about unknown gunmen. And usually radio stations in the South will talk about it because whether you like it or not, the South holds a boundary with the Southeast. For many years there was the talk about referendum and all the likes. However, the various administrations at the national level that have led the country always would say indivisible, one Nigeria. So whether Biafra is right or not, once again, it's not my focus. I will not go afoul of the law. However, after the incarceration of Nnamdi Kanu, we saw Simon Ekpa emerge, right? That's fast. Although he also recently, about 2 weeks ago, was arrested by the authorities in Finland, the Finnish authority. Now, he led the movement and he talked about a declaration that was going to be done. I think it was done over the weekend, and now they have declared their state. I'm not going to give free adverts for them. However, what is of my concern is that in the 40 states that they mapped out, whether legal or not, the South was drawn alongside, the other states in the Southeast. And the conversation in my head is, I'm looking at it from a security perspective. I'm looking at it from an economic perspective. Are we now going to see, the insecurity in that region drift into this region as a matter of a fight for whatever it is that they call it? Are we going to see that drifting? Are we going to see a situation where, because of course now that they made a declaration like we've seen in Abia State in recent times, where military men have been attacked, policemen have been attacked in Anambra as well. I think there's one other state in the southeast where we've seen, at Imo State, where we've seen some of these attacks on uniformed men. Are we now going to see that happen? Because if they claim on social media that they are fighting for the independence and they're trying to drive these forcemen out of their states, out of their country, according to them, are we going to see all of these things now move from the southeast to the south? And so that's the conversation I want to have. And is this a wake-up call also for the state governors in these regions? I'm talking the south, I'm talking the southeast, to begin to think how to beef up security, how to, strategize when it comes to security. What are the governors in the south thinking as a result, as relates to this very matter? Once again, it does have its economic and security implications. So is this a conversation? And historically, I'm thinking, even if these were to be accepted, even if, now underline that word, are we going to see a South readily agree to join, the Southeast? Are we going to see, let's even talk structuring, because restructuring has been another conversation we've been having for many years. Are we going to see the South readily? I'm talking Delta State, I'm talking Edo State, I'm talking Bayelsa State, I'm talking Rivers State, I'm talking Akwa Ibom State, and I'm also referring to Cross River State. Are we going to see them accept to go back to a regional system where they are now attached to the Southeast region? And please, this is not an avenue for hate speech. It's a conversation I'm looking to have. It's a very hard one at that. It's a conversation a lot of people would not want to have because of the sensitive nature. So I'm believing that you and I can have this conversation for development. This is not a place where we would now give legitimacy to, the secessionist movement. We're not going to do that. It's a conversation nonetheless, because if we ignore already we've seen some of the characteristics of the fight for Biafra in the southeast region, and as people in the south region, the conversation is our responsibility to have. What do you make of it? The south being drawn into such a movement at such a time. Basically, I think I'm not going to say much. I just want to get your thoughts on this. But before I do, there's also a statement by Nubari Sata, who is the President General of the Niger Delta Congress, and he has this to say. So I'm just going to send it. I'm just going to play it so you can hear for yourself.
Niger Delta and Biafra are polar opposites. The Niger Delta Congress rejects in totality the futile attempt by IPOB, BROGIE, and its allies to subsume our distinct ethnic identities into their so-called Biafran project. Our people have spoken repeatedly and unambiguously. We rejected being a part of Biafra when it was first declared in 1967, and not only do we reject it once again, but we will resist it. We are not Biafrans, and we will never be Biafrans.
All right, so like I said, this is a sensitive conversation, and from the tone of Nubari Sata, it looks like it's so that it may several security alone. I'm not, but once again, reference what is happening in Southeast. How do you think our security operatives can handle this matter? How do you think the South region will also react to this matter? And what do you think the federal government can do? Because Nnamdi Kanu arrested, Simon Ekpa arrested, but it looks like these individuals are still bent on carrying on with their plans. I'd like to get your thoughts, but first a commercial break. When I do return, talk some more. to Hard Facts and 92.3 Nigeria Info. And we're doing history today on the show. And it has to do with secessionist moves by a group in the Southeast. And I'm wondering how the South is reacting to it now that they are being dragged along in the conversation. And once again, it's not in any way an attempt to cause an ethnic divide or, what do you call it now, a tribal divide, but it's a conversation for the development, because sometimes these moves come with insecurity, comes with economic devastation, as we have seen in some parts of the Southeast. They still have to deal with activities like sit at home every Monday, and the South should be thinking and acting, I guess. So glad you're reacting. To the phone lines now, 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, and 0817-923-0007. I will tell you one more time, watch words and contribute for development. Okay, so while I'm waiting for the call screener to screen your calls, I'm going to go to the WhatsApp platform. The number for WhatsApp, 0809 0306416. I did once again. I was following the news on social media. I saw states. They claim to have 40 states, and in the 40 states that they claim to have, some areas, not some, all the areas in the 6 South states were included, including that of River State. That was included. All the regions you can think in the South. In the River State were included as well. I've got Chima, and Chima is calling from Rumkuta. Chima, welcome. What is on your mind? I'd love to hear from you.
Hello, good evening, Canada.
Yeah, greetings to you. Welcome.
Yeah, about the thing that is happening about this infection or whatever. Please, let me know if the start here and now.
What do you mean by you? I'm not getting you. Be more audible. I can hardly hear what you're saying.
I said we, the United States are here. We South, we are not among them. This is a section something.
Why do you say so?
Yes, if you look from the incident, you know how we have robbed about it. If you have read most of I wasn't born by them, but I've read some books concerning this, they are Biafra. Even the one written by great finance today, there was a country. You see what happened there, the whole thing. Let me say the first person that started with us in society, but the issue is that he deceived them because of one thing or two years. So people did not tell them the truth. He deceived them from the
okay, so we don't want the conversation is not to talk about whether they were deceived or not. Yet again, my focus is not on Biafra. I don't even intend to talk about Biafra. But the conversation, you're saying you don't want to join because historically the region was not carried along. Is that what you're saying? Your people were not carried along. Is that what you're trying to say?
There is no how we're going to talk about Biafra something that it will not be antagonizing. Because what I want to make you understand is that we don't want them. Me, I am from Ikwere. I would have forwarded you a book to read, written by a white man, one will and putting in. The guy said that in this fight between Biafra, there's a tribe called Ikwere, that those people suffer so much. That is simply because their language is almost like the Igbos, and they look like the Igbos. And the Igbos do not recognize them as Igbos. Let the people call them Samtuas. Then the outers saw them as Igbos. And they kill them very, very well. And that is where I am from.
All right.
So my brother, see, we don't even know what's happening.
Mistaken identity.
All
right.
That it will not be provocating.
All right.
There is no how.
All right, Chima, we will try. We will try. Chima, thank you. Moving on. I've got Hector. Hector is calling from Ogbogoro. Hector, welcome. Let's have this hard conversation. All right.
I'm a German.
Okay.
I'm from Calabari. Look, we are not part of them. We can never be part of them.
Why?
There was never a referendum to accepting to decide where we decide that we are part of. We are together in the region. And mind you, this regional thing is a creation of the colonial master. Yeah, they brought the North and the South together. We are just, before the colonial masters even came, we are all living in our separate, we are just living independently. Nothing like Igbo, nothing like Hausa, Ijaw, and all that. All these things came into play for political expediency. Now, regionalism regional creation was initiated for political expediency, for the fact that initially we are in the eastern region, was really called Biafra. We are not Biafra. I'm a German. I am not part of Biafra. If Rivers State, some part of Rivers State, maybe they have some of their language people or their tribal people in Rivers State, they can say that maybe part of Rivers State is part of Biafra. That to include the entire Rivers State in their map. We are looking for trouble.
All right then. All right. Thank you very much. I'm going to move on now to Gift from Yenegua. Gift, welcome. What is on your mind? Like to hear from me.
Man of the people.
Yeah, Gift.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter, we the younger ones that our parents gave birth to, we read history and we know about the history of this whole matter. That is why you are trying to be sensitive, because it's a sensitive matter. But they're just like Shima DK, who is from Ikwere, I am from Ijo, you are from Ijo. The people from this axis, with the information, what we have read and our experienced firsthand, my good parents are alive. There is no way it will work out. It's just like that name. The man, the voice you played, that man is from Ogoni, the same River State. All of us are speaking in unison. This is the reason why I love man called Ezebonye Sewike. When they brought this idea, the man stood firm. I told them to their faces, it will not work in this River State. And he chased them out. That is the reason why some of them, not all, let me tell you, there are some Igbo people, like my own, the same dad with me, my own younger sister, is from Igbo, Owerri. I can tell you, no argument of that, because but the truth of the matter, we must tell ourselves this: our facts and our truths, we will never be part of them, because the suppression and oppression that our people experienced when we are together as brothers and sisters, trying to, it's in color that there are some certain things because of the sensitive nature I will not mention on air, that my own dad sat me down and told me, as you see where you went to market, you bought something that is original, and somebody forcefully took it away from you and is giving you the one that is fake. It happened here.
All right. I've got to go.
So
I've got to go. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
That one is the worst thing that will happen to
all right.
everybody. So
all right then.
Thank
all right.
you.
Got Chuka Makeup from Woji. Chuka, welcome.
And two times, and he chased them out. That's why most of them, they don't want to hear the name of Yesu Wiki. If you check it up, it's senior. And they are. And you know something. So what I'm trying to realize that even my owner told me, yeah, I'm a born Igbo. That's what I'm telling you. They told me during those days, we had even our one of the people from us, they showed us a minority. You understand? They want to go to the bed. That's what I told them. It cannot work.
All right. Thank you, thank you, Chukwemeka from Woji. But maybe a quick correction, because I'm looking at the picture yet again. He states so it's not everywhere, but some places. I don't know how it works. I've not seen map. I'm just seeing the names. So there is Calabar, there is Awuda, there is APA is in Yenegua. There is Igbani, that's I believe in. I wonder if these places are the entire. That's what I wonder if the entire states. When they talk Bani, talk Awuda, they talk about where again did it mention in Rivers State? They talked about Iwunroha. They talked about in Bayelsa. They have Sabama. They have APA. They have Ogbia. That's about 3 local governments out of the local governments in Bayelsa State. Same with Rivers, about 3 local governments. In Delta, I think they took the whole of Ugeli. Yeah. When I say they take or they took, I'm talking figuratively, please. I'm not part of the movement. Anyways, but you get the gist. So maybe not all, but they intend to take a part of. I don't know how it works, but we're just going to go with that. And I'm wondering, what's your reaction to it? Some people have said no. Historically, there was no blend, there was no synergy, there was no sync, and so they don't want to go back to what it was like history. Even restructuring. Imagine if we were to go back to regions. Would you want to go back to that? It's a question. But I've got Bright who's calling from Maya. I missed his call, so okay. I've got Williams from Iche. William, welcome. What is on your mind?
Good evening.
Yeah, greet you as well.
Yes. This topic that you brought now, I believe I'm from Delta, but I will not be talking because you see this tribalism. They brought tribalism to us.
Let's not do that now. You're being William. You're being tribal. Your statement. Can you hear me? Let's not do that. Let's just go the conversation. Focus on it. Thank you.
No problem. So we cannot be part of them. We can do what we are facing now by tribalism. Why I say tribalism? By majority. We are the minority here. So where they bring that Biafra issue now, what will happen? The same minority will play in. So when we now become Biafra or become a man in our own country as Nigeria, as Biafra. So because of that, we cannot be part of it.
All right then. All right.
We should not be change at all.
So you feel you will be a minority.
All
right. All right then. All right. Let's come here now. A promise from Omagwa. I promise. Welcome. What is on my light here?
Okay. Hello.
I can hear you. Welcome.
Okay. From Omagwa. It's not for
Once again, prompt. We're not talking about whether Biafra should come. That's not my conversation. I really do not care, friend, about that. My conversation is the South and Biafra.
Okay, the South and Biafra.
Yeah.
If we go back to history, like I said before, from what our fathers told us, from my father, what we are told, we're so marginalized. Then, like that, a core Ibuan rule was a chancellor in Omagwa for some years. Does it mean that there are no people here? There were no people here then? Because we are minority here, and they are the majority after then. Just like what is happening between the North and the South now. It's still the same thing. But for me, I want the South currently to support Biafra.
Once again, I'm moving on. Thank you very much. I've got this call from Ken. Ken is calling for Bimini. Welcome. What is on your mind? I like TFC.
Good afternoon, Canada.
You're welcome.
Canada, in the first place, if I may ask, who and how does Biafra imitate in this our country? And what is the agent of Biafra? What are their agitations? What was their interest? Before we talk about this particular incident that seems not to leave our memories. You see, when we are talking about this particular incident that happened years ago, it does not augur well in many people's memory. Now, there's your question. I think that Biafra is not what we should be discussing this time around. Because when we are talking about Biafra, it's like automating that fatwa name, Biafra. Because if you ask me, the whole South state was marginalized. Based on the information I got from my parents, the Northerners did not experience this civil war. That is why when we are hearing about Boko Haram and other issues at the northern area of the country, we seem it to be what they did not experience 57 years or 50 years ago.
What's your point, Ken? I'm trying to get your point. What's your point?
My point is this. Biafra issues are not what we're supposed to analyze them.
All right, then.
Because of what is on the ground.
All right. Ken, thank you very much. Since it's not, I've got to let you go so other people who want to contribute can. I've got an anonymous caller. Welcome. What is on your mind? Please talk to me.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, welcome.
I think for me, I will just give an advice that they should rescind on some of their decisions or their demands, because it will be dead on arrival with what they are demanding by removing all those South states, and it will work for them.
All right. Remove South states, he said. All right. Thank you very much, anonymous caller. I've got Ben. Ben is calling from Rumekini. Ben, welcome on your mind. I need to be audible, please. We can barely.
Good evening, Mr. Canada.
Yeah, I can hear you. Welcome.
All right. Regards to your question, I am from a Akwa state. There has never been any time that we are part of Biafra, and we can never be. So I wonder why people should live and believe in their past dreams, of waking up to reality in this civilized world. And see, we talk about generalization. That never work and can never work. You think so? You think we can't? You think regionalism can never work? There's never been. Sorry.
I was asking you. You think regionalism never work? Is that what you think? You think it can never work? What if we restructure?
It can't. It can't work. It can't work. We have gone beyond that now.
Okay.
If it's talking some other thing, not. We can't join, and we can't join as far as Bible concerned.
But you can't speak for all of our Kwaibomites, can you? Very much for not long ago. Welcome, JJ.
Yes. It's movement of Jap people, and it's a smooth route. Canada.
Let's get your thoughts.
These same people who have talked about this whole thing right now, like we just say, they draw it too and begin to name it anyhow. What is Ogogomigo and all? So they just name that is somebody's whatever.
But let's see on the point.
These are the same people who have been complaining that they were not part of negotiation that brought them into Nigeria first.
True. Yeah.
You are trying people into your own imaginary. I don't know how to describe it. Yes, you didn't consult people. Like the people don't have leaders, they don't have anything, they don't have a say. I don't get this and all those people together. You are telling people you were not part of Nigeria. How did Nigeria come to be? How did you find yourself in Nigeria? You want an Shekiri man, an Isoko man, an Ijo man to be part of you, so that the same thing you're claiming that the majority is doing to you, you begin to perpetrate it to them. I don't get it at all. I don't know how people reason at the end of the day that, like you talked about the insecurity thing, it will never happen.
Okay.
Sit at this. You know why?
Tell me.
The people of this area now, of Rivers, of Delta, of Akwa Ibom, they've all rejected this. So coming to, where will you say to call insecurity? Like our people will always ask, if we go to van, they won't say take it down. I tell people, you see, it's not that now that Osama bin Laden is dead right now. If Osama was still alive, and you want to come to, let's say, Port Harcourt to cause insecurity, he cannot do that unless people who abhor him and make sure that this happens.
All right, you have got
but for this one, this can never, ever happen in the entire southern part when this whole thing, they didn't consult anybody, nobody is still with them. How many people have called now? Everybody
all right, JJ, I've got to go.
The entire South has rejected that nonsense.
All right.
Thank you very much.
I wonder if you can speak on behalf of the South, but I've got Lawson who is texting from Yannick, or rather calling, I beg your pardon. Lawson, you're welcome.
Canada, greetings.
You're welcome.
Do you know why in 1967, close to when the crisis started between Ojukwu and Gowon, do you know why Gowon created 12 states out of the 4 regions?
Tell me.
And do you know why within this south area, he created the River State created Cross River?
Tell me.
Because the enclave Ojukwu was claiming at the time, part of it was not Biafra. It wasn't Biafra at all. And that enclave was against him. In fact, it's one of the reasons why...
What enclave are you referring to now? Rivers and Cross River? Is that what
the enclave called Biafra that they have also carved out, that you're talking about now, was the same claim he was making that made Gowon to create 12 states out of the 4 regions in Nigeria.
Okay.
And that River State and River State were created just to make sure he removes it from Ojuku's and then you don't even know why Ojukwu could not forgive Kentaro Wiwa even in death. Do you know why I borrow? Do you know how he was killed? Where he was going? They have refused to limit it to within their own area. They have always been tempted as part of South. And don't forget, a former head of state in this country was killed because he attempted to Nigeria back to regionalism. That's
how much Nigeria hates regionalism.
All right.
It came out with Decree 34. That's a Queen Rosie.
Okay.
General Queen Rosie.
All right.
And attempted to back Nigeria back to regionalism.
All right,
and
then.
He was for that. In fact,
All right.
the day he made that decree, he was marked for death.
All right. Thank you, Lawson. I've got to go. I've got to go. I don't have time.
For me, let them limit it to within the area and leave the south out.
All right, thank you, Lawson. Thank you for your. I'm going to research this. I don't have time enough. I'm going to try. I have a long read from Emiaga. Do I have enough time for that? He says, first point of note, the present-day Delta and Edo states were in Western region and carved out and later became Midwest region. As for the insecurity associated with the Biafra, okay, let's leave that. I think the Biafra proponents know the boundary. The hallucinated states and mere media content remain so till eternity. Security agencies, the people and the governments of the South should be vigilant because the guys from Southeast are very mischievous and inordinately desperate for the resources of the South. They may transport some of their mischief to the South to paint false picture before the world. Nigeria created regions for administration purposes. Besides, late Isaac Adakoro and his group wanted to secede from Nigeria because of the oppression, denial, and analyzation meted under of the at the time. What trying to coerce people you once oppressed into another round of slave oppression and subjugation in this modern time? Just imagine them adding the Yoruba and Edo people into the annoying Biafra relationship with the Igbo of Nigeria. Let's hear. So, I'm